You're missing a left back. Well, who am I going to play at left back then? Well, maybe I can fit a midfielder in there and play this inverted box one to give me more. Play your left back. Play the bloody left back. If Tierney's not good enough, shouldn't be in the squad, but he's your left back. Play the left back. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner channel. A channel 100% dedicated to Arsenal runners-up 2022 to 2023. And we have just hand-delivered a gift-wrapped Premier League title to Man City, who don't even need to kick off against Chelsea tomorrow to win it. An abject, dismal performance away to Forrest. You would be forgiven for thinking that we had somehow promised to repay the debt we owed them for letting us have the shirts which gave us our red and white way back at the conception of Arsenal Football Club. We played today like we had completely run out of ideas. Like the players were on holiday already. It's really hard to take. It almost, as someone said on the Facebook, Sharon said on the Facebook group, it's a little bit like we've just been dreaming the rest of the season and we're now waking up to... I mean, that was as bad as Spurs play. No crispness in the passing. Nobody seems to know where they're supposed to be. And it felt like that was a team completely out of energy. And there's no reason why they should be so bereft of energy. They've been playing a game a week for months since we went out to Sporting. We've had injuries, but we've had worse patches of injuries this season. Yes, Saliba's out. He's a big miss. But today wasn't about Saliba being out. Today, we face a truth here as a team, which is that you can't blame all the players. Something is wrong and you can't blame all the players. But today, they all played badly. Ramsdale in goal, not much to do, but the one goal was a mixture of him not knowing what to do and not getting to the ball. None of them played well. Odegaard was moving around the ball, trying to create stuff. It just wasn't happening for him. Jesus was the worst side of Jesus today. It was all the falling over, all the remonstrating, all the trying to win fouls, all the things not quite working off and turns. Needlessly tricky. Saka, yet again, looked like he just wanted to be taken off the pitch for a bit. Every game he's played. The World Cup into that as well. This has been a long season. I'm not sure that you can say this about all the players. Xhaka, I don't think he knew what position he was playing in, and I didn't know which position he was playing in. But it's clear that he's off. So maybe his head's not quite right. Maybe we've done that bit of transfer business a little bit too soon. Maybe we should have been nuts down and focused on the season that we still have to play before we started doing all the transfer talks. Tierney is not even on the pitch when Zinchenko is injured for the rest of the season. He's obviously off. But then second half, you throw him on. And to be fair, he was at least trying to put crosses in the box. More direct. But who's in the box to take them? It's not Trossard who's going to pop up and score a header. We missed the running of Martinelli. Of course we did. You always would do. But the fact that there's no one around that can, either on the left wing or the right wing, that come in with that bit of pace. Reiss Nelson, obviously a contract issue that we're dealing with there, and I don't think he's going to stick around. I don't think anyone thinks he's going to stick around. There's a lot going on in that camp, but this fatigue, this is about ideas. This is about having run out of ideas and being exhausted, mentally exhausted under the stress and strain of it. I forgive and understand that. When we get to the last home game of the season and we win, lose or draw, now that it doesn't make any difference and we still finish runners-up this season, we will, I think, those of us who aren't rabid idiots and go on about how it's not acceptable, it's not right, and fuming and all this crap, or those of us who are sensible, intelligent people who love watching Arsenal Football Club will remember that this season has been great and has been a step in the right direction and given us hope in the process. We will remind ourselves and anyone else who cares to listen intelligently that Arteta is doing the first job of management he's ever done. And whilst I find it really tedious that people keep going on about how he's the sorcerer's apprentice to Pep Guardiola, today we did see a very similar approach at exactly the wrong time. Because if Pep Guardiola has a criticism levelled against him, it's that he tinkers and overthinks. And today, that's what we did. You're missing a left back. Well, who am I going to play at left back then? Well, maybe I can fit a midfielder in there and play this inverted box one to give me more. Play your left back. Play the bloody left back. If Tierney's not good enough, shouldn't be in the squad, but he's your left back. Play the left back. It's not Arteta's fault that we haven't got a right back. Ben White has to play right back. We've known that for ages. Today he was out of sorts. But we ended up with Partey playing right back. I lost track of who was playing in what position. I mean, Xhaka today, I don't think he knew what position he was playing in. A couple of times in the first half, there was a header that he made in the box where I just thought, where's that going? Jorginho, his passes today were less incisive than I think they've ever been, but I don't know if there was enough movement around him. Above and beyond everything, we ran out of ideas today, and that comes from the manager. You can't blame 11 players on the pitch for playing badly all at once. If they're all playing badly at once, it's the manager's fault. And we were talking about Arteta. Intelligent people were talking about Arteta as the manager of the season to have done what he's done. And he deserves to be in the frame for that. But you do still have to accept when he's made mistakes. Today was needlessly complicated. It highlighted the fact that, look, to give you an example, Man City played most of the last 2 seasons as champions without a striker, without a go-to person. That kind of false 9 position, And now they have 2 options. When they come and play against us, they can play a different kind of football from the typical Man City. When we travel to places, we've got to play like the Arsenal. Forrest picked us off today, got the goal and defended well. And we never looked threatening. All of the tricky passing, every now and again, have a shot people. Today, we overthought it. Today, we didn't inspire those young men to believe. Watching the City game against Real Madrid, and the one thing that really stood out, I was kind of watching it thinking, how do you emulate this? And what is it that's so amazing about these teams? When you look at their players, and they're all strong, athletic, purposeful, driven, and their mentality is spot on. But they get rotated. Our players are not being rotated enough, and they're not confident enough, and they haven't been there, seen it, done it, and worn a t-shirt, but they're getting there. And this season, I think, from what I've been hearing, before I came on to do this video, I did have a quick listen around just to see what the noise is, but we all feel the same way. It's just fans travelled to Nottingham to see Arsenal play, and Arsenal didn't travel. I don't know what happened. If they were all, this is worse than Lasagna Gate. If they all had the same dinner and it was spiked, I get it. But something, Bacardi Breezer time, they were at the beach. And the fans didn't know. And they turned up to watch Arsenal and they weren't there today. And we have to look at why that might be. Was his team talk before the game? Weren't there enough props? Maybe there weren't enough gadgets. Maybe he didn't get the right kit man in or photographer to go, I really care. Maybe they just didn't believe anymore. That's what you see when there's a lack of belief and it's spread through the dressing room. For me, there are a lot of players playing with their heads down. And it isn't all the younger players, by the way. Today I felt like I've been vindicated in saying I just don't think Thomas Partey is the man anymore. We clearly do need a defensive midfielder, but I also came away from that match, before the dust settled, I may change my mind, but we need a number 9. Gabby Jesus brings a lot of flair and he brings a lot of goal contributions when other players are around him. But he is not an out-and-out goal scorer. And if we're going to have any prospect of facing down a Man City team, we're going to need to be able to change our style of play from time to time to a more direct style of play. So this summer, we clearly need, we can't just sign Declan Rice and have Xhaka leave, because that's just a like-for-like replacement upgrade. We're still going to be left with Jorginho and Partey and El Neni. We need to be bringing in Caicedo and Rice, or Rice and another player as good as Caicedo. We know that. We need a Cancelo type. Somebody offers us the versatility to play left and right and gives us cover on both, so that we have our centre-backs in the positions they're more commonly used in, so that we can put Ben White in instead of a Holding. We probably need a centre-back upgrade as well on Holding, who I think will be leaving this summer. But we also need a number 9. And the 200 million war chest, if it's just 200 million, even if we sell players, if we don't get over that, this is going to be a tough season next season, because we're going to have more games to play. Arteta, from just before Boxing Day in 2020, when he changed his style a little bit and played Emil Smith-Rowe, to Mikel Arteta 2023, where he's decided that Smith-Rowe is not good enough to put on an Arsenal shirt, shouldn't even be on the bench if you're never going to play him. Because you put Fabio Viera on today, and I'm not saying Viera won't one day be a great player, but that wasn't going to be today. That was a hopeless substitution. That just, it doesn't even smack of desperation, it smacks of you're trying to make a point, like you did with Willian. Arteta's come a long way. His man management, he's learnt on the job, because it wasn't great to begin with. When we had the cabal of German players who obviously didn't rate him. Now, this team believes in him. But if his head's dropped and the coaching team's heads have dropped, or they haven't done a good enough job of getting them re-energised and happy, he looked so sad after that game against Brighton, and I completely understand why we all did. But it was his job to get back in our dressing room and go, it's done now. Let's make sure we put this to City, that we don't hand it to them, that they have to win it. They have to go out and beat Chelsea, which, look, they were always going to do anyway. This is a team that just turned over Real Madrid like they were a part-time team. They're not going to struggle against Chelsea, managed by Frank Lampard. But they should have had to win it. It's sickening to hand someone a title. It's sickening. I don't remember us ever doing it. I'm thrilled that we've reached runners-up level. It's only the third time we've done it since we won. But I'm sick at today's result, because it was needlessly complicated. Needlessly sticking to the same style and trying to make players who match it. Oh, look, I don't have an inverted fullback. I've only got an actual fullback, so I can't just play a flat back four. I'm going to have to play my box midfield. Like there was ever going to be a problem dominating the midfield against Nottingham Forest. You know, why not try Emil Smith-Rowe? Is it that you're worried that he's going to score a goal or two and make you look like a plum? I'm being harsh now, aren't I? I'm still ticked off. But I have to say, look, this is going to have been the biggest lesson in Arteta's life, because he can come out, and I haven't watched his press conference yet, and I haven't watched his after-match interview. I couldn't this time, right? I'm going to go and watch it now. But if he comes out and starts talking about how it isn't good enough and they and them, I'd like to hear him come out today and go, yeah, this was on me. This is my inexperience. This is me not knowing how to G a team up when it really mattered. And I'm going to think on this moment, and I'm going to learn from this moment, and I'm going to grow out of this moment into a manager that can win the Premier League. Because I 100% believe that what he does well hugely outranks what he doesn't do so well. But he's got that stubbornness that great managers have. He's got that I'm playing Willian till he becomes a brilliant player stubbornness. My system is going to work against anyone stubbornness. You know, when you wanted a double pivot against Man City, no, don't need it. Today, an inverted fullback. Why? Why an inverted fullback today? Why not just play a flat back four? Why couldn't we have seen it today? Why couldn't you have gone, today we're going to have most of the ball. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Odegaard and Smith-Rowe in the middle with Xhaka or Partey. I would have put Xhaka in there, or Jorginho, doesn't matter. But your left back was Tierney, your right back was Ben White. Kivior, we spent 20 million on him. He's an international player. He plays really well. Yes, he's left-sided, but we're going to play him as a back pairing with Gabriel, and they are going to stop people coming at us. Instead of this 3 at the back, 5 at the back. I don't know what we were doing today, and what does it matter if I know what we're doing? But the players didn't look like they knew what they were doing. Arteta, you've got to have learnt a lesson out of today. You've got to have learnt a lesson from this run-in. Last season, we ended miserably. It was a damp squib after a charge. This season, nothing but pride in what you've done. But the way it's ended, wouldn't it have been better if we'd started like this and the end had got us close but not quite there? We will come again. This has got to be a big summer. We now know we've got to be bringing Cancelo in. We've got to be bringing Rice and Caicedo in. And we've got to be bringing in a Vlahovic. And if we can get Zaha on a free transfer or Diaby, then I think we've got a chance. But if we're going into this with less than that, if we're going into the next season with less than that, we are in some trouble. Anyway, thanks for watching to this point if you have. If you feel my pain, if you share my pain, then hit subscribe. Because that would cheer me the fuck up today. I wouldn't blame you for not watching a football video now and pretending it all just didn't happen. The players have started enjoying their summer holidays. I'm going to try and do the same. Until I catch you again, and I'll do a after the dust settles video where I'm a bit less immediately frustrated. But until I see you again, be lucky and let me get those comments. I'm loving your comments.